Today's topic is Bios Logos, which is exploring the science of the living, uh, which is biology itself. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello, all students. I am Sulakshana. The way I like to describe myself is that I'm a scientist. I'm a science writer, an educator, an animal ethics consultant, and a rescuer. I live my life on just this one phrase. We have one life and it's meant to do for many ventures. Okay, so as a scientist, I have been very actively involved primarily in ecology and conservation and also in zoology. I mean, um, ever since I was little, ever since I have been introduced to animals, zoology has always been a field that I'm extremely passionate about. It's been something that I've always loved. And somehow over the years, what has happened is I have dealt with animal experimentation, which I wasn't too fond of. So then I eventually ended up in plant experimentation. And that led me to become an animal ethics consultant while also pursuing my passion of animal rescue. Now, I call myself an educator because I tend not to teach students. I tend to train them. Okay. The approach that I always take to educating students is to ensure that they develop a skill set and not that they just develop a theoretical knowledge of things. That's why I very proudly proclaim that I am an educator. I am not a teacher. Okay. And yeah. So when you're talking about careers in biology, students here, I would like to just emphasize that I want this session to be an interactive session. I would like you to speak up here, like you to share your views and stop me at any point of time. Consider it a very informal approach, but an informative approach to careers. Okay. So as you would like to pursue a career in biology, what are the top careers that you always think of? Could anyone let me know? Any students out there?
One that people usually talk about is medicine.
Okay. Anything else?
Maybe botanists.
As a botanist, okay. There are still two more that you people are missing, which constantly come up. What do you have to do next after PUC? What do you do after your class 12? What are
Genetic
the
engineering? Would
sorry?
would genetic engineering count as bio?
Engineering, yes.
Veterinary sciences.
Veterinary sciences also, yes.
Biotechnology.
Biotechnology, yes. Also falls under engineering there. Primarily, okay. Primarily, these are the careers that always pop up. You're either pushed into becoming a doctor, you're pushed into medicine, or your parents suggest that you take up engineering because there's a lot of scope, there's a lot of money, is what they say. If not doctor or an engineer, they say, why don't you fall back into becoming a scientist? Okay. And if absolutely nothing else, for some reason, this particular career is possibly the most stigmatized career in India. Okay. We call it, this is a very, how would I put it? Okay, this particular career, being a teacher, is usually used as your last option. I do not know why, but a lot of teachers, a lot of academicians that I have met have always stated that, even though teachers are considered to, even though teaching is considered to be the most noble profession, it is still considered to be a fallback option and not the actual option of most people. I'm not sure why that is, because teaching is a very beautiful field. Teaching is a very lucrative field, and teaching should be emphasized as the most important field in our country. Okay. Now, apart from these traditional careers, there are up and coming fields, which, these weren't really avenues that were open maybe about 20 years or so ago. Okay. One such field is nutrition and dietetics. That is, you can become a nutritionist, a naturalist. Naturalists were always there, but it's more under emphasis now. A writer, you can engage in science communication, or you can also engage in a more lucrative up and coming job, which is in ecotourism. Okay. Now, as you can see from this particular picture over here, when you're talking about a career in biology, right in this picture, there's like over 100 different job opportunities for you. Don't let anyone say that, oh, you've taken biology. There's not really much that you can do with it. That's an absolutely wrong approach to take. Anywhere that there is life, there will always be a scope for a biologist. You can do anything. You can become an RN, you can get into R&D, research and development. You can become a botanist, study about plants. You can, look into the development of plants. You can look into wildlife, forensics, dentist, an illustrator. If you are somebody who loves drawing, you are somebody who loves animation, you can combine both. Okay, the world is transitioning into a sort of interdisciplinary life. Things aren't black and white anymore. It's more about gray. Okay, everything is mixing up. You can choose to transition between fields. You can combine your passions with what you have actually studied, and there are newer and newer job opportunities that are available for you now. Now, while this is quite interesting, at your point where you are in life, this can also be quite overwhelming. Okay, a lot of options can seem to be quite overwhelming. So instead of thinking about what you could possibly do, I wish at my age, way back when I was your age, I wish somebody had told me, like, see, let's figure out how you have to get to where you want to be. Okay. I did not have an idea. When I was in high school, when I was in PUC, I did not know that, I had to undergo a certain number of steps to get to a particular point. All I knew was that, okay, in order to study medicine, I had to get into an MBBS degree. In order to be an engineer, all I had to do was do a BE or a BTech course, right? What I did not know was there were a ton of other options available for me to get to that point. Okay. So today, let me just focus my, um, my particular session on how you have to get to where you want to be. Okay. Now, obviously, you have to train yourself for it. You have to educate yourself for it. So in terms of an educational breakdown, in case of any field of study that you want to go to, there are primarily 4 levels or 4 tiers of education. The first is a bachelor's program. Now, a bachelor's program tends to introduce you to the particular field that you want to study. For example, in terms of biology, we don't just have pure biology. Okay, you can also have microbiology, you can have biotechnology, you can integrate into zoology, or you can, learn about botany, purely zoology. You can also have a triple majors program wherein you can study 3 different subjects at the same time and get a bachelor's degree in all 3 of them. But bear in mind that a bachelor's degree is always an introductory course. Okay, while the curriculum can be quite extensive, it runs for about 3 to 4 years, depending on which country or which institute you are studying in. The bachelor's degree tends to be an introductory course. Okay, the next step, or this level 2, is a master's program. So a master's program can run for anywhere between a year to 2 years. Okay, and this tends to be a bit more specialized in what you want to do. Say, you did a triple majors and bachelor's, and then you realize that, now you want to pursue a specialized program in biotechnology or a specialized program in zoology. In that case, you enter into a master's program and you start to learn more intensively about that particular field. Now, another thing about a master's program is it tends to have a component of research that is integrated into that particular program. Usually, 1 semester of the program or 2 semesters are devoted only to research, so that it gives you a wholesome picture of the entire field that you are studying in. Okay. Now, then the third level is the PhD or the doctoral program. So when you get into this level, it's no longer about studying by the books, no longer about, a professor being there to guide you in certain aspects. A PhD program is usually a self-study program. And what you do over here is you fixate on a particular problem or a particular hypothesis, and you try to find a solution to that problem, or you trying to uh, find out more information about that particular problem. For example, when I did my PhD, I focused on working on algae. Okay, so then I went into studying more about algae. I looked into how I can use algae for alternative resources. I used it for alternative energy, as an alternative means for fuel, as an alternative means for alcohol, as an alternative means for pigments, and in a variety of other different fields. Okay, so a PhD program is usually a self motivated sort of program Because while you have a person who is there to just tell you whether you are in the right field, or you're pursuing your research in the right manner, you would not necessarily have somebody holding your hand through and through. Okay, and a PhD program is also more of an upskilling program than your bachelor's or your master's. Your bachelor's and your master's tend to be mandatory requirements in a lot of career fields, but a PhD or a postdoctorate is not really so. Now, the fourth tier, which is currently tier 3 and tier 4 are currently optional, tiers generally, PhD and a postdoc. So postdoctoral research would be one step higher from a doctoral program, wherein you integrate or you associate with an industry and you work on behalf of that industry on a particular field of study that is pertinent to that particular industry. For example, if I were to be working with a paint company, okay, I could probably be working with that paint company, looking into developing pigments that are very, long sustaining, which are also ecologically non-toxic. So I could be developing pigments like that from algae, but for the purpose of paint. Okay, so these are the different tiers, or these are the different educational lines that you can pursue. Now, among these education lines, what happens is a lot of universities are giving integrated approaches to it. An integrated program would mean that at least two of these programs are combined into a single program and offered at a shorter duration. A bachelor's program tends to take about 3 to 4 years. A master's program can take about 1 to 2. Say, for example, 3 and 2. So that makes it a rate of a 5 if you were to pursue it separately. If you took an integrated version of this, you would probably be able to do both of those degrees within 3.5 to 4 years. Okay. And same thing goes even for the master's and the PhD program. It tends to allow you to complete the program in a shorter duration of time. Okay. Now, as
Ms.
students,
Sulakshana,
yeah,
sorry to interrupt. I believe one of our students is looking to ask you a question. So Nandini, if you'd like to just proceed.
yeah, sure.
So I'm a psychology major in college right now. I'm doing my undergrad in New York. And
Okay.
I just wanted to ask you, so I am interested in animals and everything related to animals. So
Yes.
do you think it's possible that after a psychology degree, or hypothetically an economics degree, to go completely out of the box, you can do a master's in zoology? If yes, what do you think will be the benefits or the pros and cons of me going from a degree that is not necessarily biology centric to a master's in a subject that is more heavy on biology in terms of the technicalities?
Since you are into psychology, you are learning about the behavioral sciences there, right? Why don't you pursue something in animal behavioral sciences? So that would take the best of both worlds, and then you would also be able to integrate it into a animal course. Animal behavioral sciences are quite uh, it's a very versatile field there, because animal science, behavioral sciences are very important for us to learn how they are dealing with uh, changing environments. So they make quite a huge impact research wise.
Yeah,
So
so
that's
is
something
it
that you could pursue.
yeah, so is it possible that if I just do a psychology degree and not change my path in my undergrad, is it an available avenue for me to pursue zoology as a master's degree, or do you think that I will have to do something as a prerequisite in order for me to be enabled to do a master's in zoology, for example?
Right. So in case of this, you would have a master's degree usually requires a prerequisite of another biology degree that is associated with it. So you would have to take up a course, or you would have to take up a certain number of credits in biology or in animal sciences. I don't think that you'd be able to directly jump into that.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Okay. So moving on. It's very important for you to select the right course. Okay. Now, when you're thinking about taking the right course, my personal suggestion is these are the three main things that you have to give priority to. Okay. Number one is your interest. Are you interested in the particular field? Is it what you like doing, or is it what you foresee yourself doing in future? Now, a lot of times what people here take for granted is they might be extremely passionate about something. For example, veterinarians, most of the veterinarians that I have worked with are extremely passionate about saving animals, about saving lives. Okay. But understand one thing, when you jump into veterinary sciences or when you're jumping into medicine, you're not just dealing with saving lives, you're also dealing with pet parents who are coming to you, pet parents who are going to be irritating you, pet parents who assume that, they are entitled to your time. Any time of the day, any time of the night, they would require your advice. You might be required to hand out free advice. So there are pros and cons to your passion as well. Now, think about all of this. Think about if this is what you are okay with on a long term basis, because it can mean all the difference between you working hard at a particular degree or hardly working. Okay, so make sure that you are taking something that interests you, but take a call on if it is something that you are absolutely 100% passionate about. Okay, because that passion can very quickly turn into disinterest over time. So here, this is a very fine line that you have to be walking here. I understand it's a lot for you to think about, but I have seen this happen. And so I would always suggest my students to go for something that interests you, but not necessarily something that you are extremely passionate about. It should interest you enough for you to work hard enough, but also not disinterest you to the point wherein you just don't want to work, you just want to get it over with. Okay. Now, the second thing that you have to do when selecting the right course is think about the amount of time that you want to invest over here. Most students rely on the parental advice, and the parents' advice is always take up medicine because you'll be able to earn a lot of money. Take up engineering because you'll be able to earn a lot of money. Okay. But what they don't let this to child realize is the amount of time that goes into it. To do a medical degree takes you about 6 plus 3 years. Okay, because you don't just have to do a bachelor's degree, you also have to specialize in a master's, and then at the and to get into the master's, a lot of students take at least about 1 to 2 years of time off to prepare for the right examination, and then they get into a particular field over there. So do you really want to take about 9, 10 years of your time studying? Okay, think about that. A lot of students just say that, no, what I want to do is I just want to start earning money. Earning money is fine. I mean, money is going to come to you at some point or the other, but you have to make sure that, you are prepared for the amount of time that you want to invest in yourself, prepared for the amount of time that you want to invest in your degree. It's and while doing this, okay, maybe your course ticks box one and box two. Okay, it might even take box three. But somewhere along the way, you find yourself disillusioned. Maybe you feel like, this isn't the right degree for you. That's perfectly fine as well. It is okay to switch courses because, as we'll see in the next few slides, the world's approach is completely changing. Tradition no longer means anything anymore. Okay. So moving on to the third prerequisite for selecting the right course is the college. The university that you attend, the particular college that you attend possibly makes the most impact on your degree. Okay, it's very important that whenever you're shortlisting your particular universities or the colleges, you have to make sure that the college offers programs. Uh, sorry, that the colleges are themselves they are accredited. That is, the degree is recognized, and it should not just be recognized in a particular locality. It should be recognized on a global scale. Okay. Now, for example, if you were to pursue medicine in Ukraine, or if you were to pursue medicine in Moscow, that particular medical degree might not necessarily be recognized in India. You might have to redo the medical degree when you're back in India. So in that case, your 4 to 6 years of time that you invested there goes to waste, right? So you do not want that to happen with you. Make sure you take up degrees in accredited colleges, and make sure that the colleges have good quality. Sorry, they have quality with they have good quality programs and with good quality output. Okay, by quality over here, I mean that, you can see the statistics of a course. You can see the kind of students or the percentage of students that end up landing jobs, the amount of pay that they receive on a yearly basis, right? So you're going to want to get into colleges that are quite transparent with this kind of data, not with colleges that are tending to, just show you a very rosy picture. Usually, colleges that are very transparent, they will tell you how many students have gotten the upper layer of, campus recruitment, or upper layer of pay packages, and a lower layer as well. So they are very open with their particular course, and that tells you that you can trust that particular college. So colleges with good quality output are where you want to spend your time. Okay. Thirdly, the college needs to have campus recruitment, because at some point you need to have a start point. You need to jump into a career somewhere. So campuses which have campus recruitment show you that the particular college is trusted by corporate companies, are trusted by industries. They keep coming back to that college because they believe in the output of the students. They believe that quality is generated in the students. So campus recruitment is quite a good sign of the quality of students that are generated by that particular university. And finally, it is also very important that the university has got professors, or they have got educators who are very who have a global reach, or who have got a lot of contacts. Now this is important for you, because as you are studying, you might also be interested in publishing certain articles, you might be interested in publishing certain research material, you might also be interested in having internships at different industries or at other universities across the world. So if you have a professor who has a pre-standing contact with another professor, maybe in United States or in Ireland, elsewhere, it'll be easier for you to facilitate that particular training for yourself. Okay, so this comes more as a matter of personal upskilling. If you want to engage in a lot of engage in a lot of upskilling, like you want to build up more contacts, you want to build up your practical skills, then the last point becomes very important for you. Okay, now when you think about the courses, there are usually primarily there are just two different courses right now. One is your university or your offline courses, and then you also have the online courses. Now university courses are usually very full length courses, and they require you to be present on campus for the particular classes. In order to take up these particular courses, you need to verify the veracity of the college. Newer universities tend to have lower standing. The college can be quite old, but if it has only been recognized quite newly, the certificates, I mean, the weightage to the certificates, they tend to have lower standing. But if you were to go with universities that have been present for quite some time, here again, the weightage to that particular degree can be quite more. Talk to the students that have passed out, figure out how the course is, figure out how the curriculum is, figure out how the professors are, how what sort of uh, facilities that they have, check out the syllabus and see how beneficial it is to where you envision yourself. Okay, if you want to get into forensic science, there's no point in getting into uh, pure biology course. It would be much better if you got into something which had to do with chemistry, and it had to do something with biotechnology, it had to do something with microbiology, toxicology. So check out the syllabus, see how pertinent it is to what you would like to do, and see if then you decide on whether that's the particular course that you want to go to. Okay. Now, when you're talking about online courses, now online courses have developed rapidly over the past few years thanks to COVID. Now, generally, online courses could be correspondence courses. That is, they offer you the full degree, but you don't have to be present on the campus all the time. Or they could be short term. Now, this is generally a means to upskill. If you are already pursuing a full length course and you want to do some additional, uh, training, you want to build up your skill set. So, an online course should be something that you should check out. It is very important to constantly upskill yourself, because like I said, the world is changing. You are no longer sticking to a particular degree. Recruiters want to know how much of different kinds of skills you can offer them. That is the most important thing to them. If you are the whole package, they are definitely going to recruit you. Okay. And certain online means that you could you know follow through is NPTL is an Indian sort of Coursera. And then you also have coursera.org, which is a global organization. I think there's a question. Okay, yeah, right. So now, wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do, once you have decided on, what's the sort of university or what's a particular certificate course that you want to do, now figure out what are the different sort of industries and what are the different jobs that they offer. This is what I would like to emphasize on. If you have glorified a particular career in your mind, talk to a person who is in that particular field. Talk to them about the pros, about the cons. Most people do not tell you the negatives of their particular job that they're at, because nobody wants to wants you to figure out, if they're in a place that's bad for them. But pick at them, figure out what are the pros, figure out what are the cons. Don't always stick to something that's presented in an extremely rosy manner. For example, forensics is glorified in the media, but it is not necessarily like that. Okay. So go to the particular industry, talk to the people who represent that particular industry. I'm not just talking about one person, talk to multiple people, get a wholesome idea about the whole industry or the particular field itself, and then come to a decision about what is the particular study that you would like to go through. Now, we are in a new age. We have a lot of new avenues that are coming up. And one such, I mean, out here, I'm just going to say, one such aspect here is ethics, diplomacy, and policy making. Okay. No longer do you have to stick to traditional roles as defined by traditional degrees. You can use your degrees, you can jump into diplomacy, you can work between countries, you can work on a global scale, you can work on a national scale as well. You can get into ministries, and you can create documents which influence the decisions of your nation through policy making. You can also get into global organizations like Amnesty, UN, Food and Agricultural Organization, and you can help how the world itself is surviving. Okay, so what you do can have a nationwide or it can have a global impact. Now, my particular advice to students is, the world as of right now is, the main focus or the main goals of the world are only three things. One is interdisciplinary sciences, sustainability, and alternatives. We are no longer focused on a single field and a single application approach. Instead, we are looking into how we can use you can use all the different kinds of sciences to the best possible manner. So biology is no longer all about plants and animals. Instead, we're talking about biochemistry, we're talking about microbiology, we're talking about biotechnology. Okay, we are using physics, we're using chemistry, we're using statistics, economics, and we're integrating them all into biology so that it can have a worldwide application to it. Okay. Another thing that we are looking at is sustainability. 30 years ago, when our parents were quite young, there was an excess of petroleum products in the world. We no longer have that. We no longer have an excess of petroleum. We no longer have an access to a lot of things right now. Okay. And as the years go on, as you students grow up and you have your kids and they have theirs, sustainability is going to be more and more emphasized on. So you need to ensure that whatever fields that you intend to get into show long-term viability by maintaining sustainability. And how do you maintain sustainability? Is by generating alternatives. We're running out of natural resources, so you need to have alternative science through and through. So what this means for you is, in terms of interdisciplinary sciences, the world is your oyster. So this opens avenues for all kinds of crossover for you, which makes it quite easy for you to hop fields. You can jump from a pure science into communication, you can jump into policy making, you can jump back into research. Okay. And then sustainability is to ensure that survival is key. So make sure that whatever field that you are in will have an application which will increase the possibility of survival of humans, of animals, of everything. Okay. And alternatives is, see, right now we are looking at alternative housing because we are expecting that the water levels are going to rise up. Most landscapes are going to be submerged at some or the other point, maybe 30 years down the line. So in that case, we are looking into housing that is waterproof, that can float, that can take up salinity. So alternative architecture is coming into the foreground here. Okay, alternative clothing. We no longer have access to anything. We might no longer have access to anything that is grown on land. So what do we do then? Okay, so this is where design comes into picture. Design not just affects clothing, it can also affect your automobiles and housing as well. Yeah. the structure of the house, the design of the house, what can prevent a lot of sunlight from getting through, the heat from getting through, okay, and alternative fuels. So it's very important to pursue studies that are capable of being applied and that are very crucial to help you survive. So my journey so far is I have done a quite a traditional approach to a certain extent. I did my triple majors in biotechnology, chemistry, and zoology. Then I specialized in a master's in biotechnology, wherein I specialized or I did my research in animal biotechnology. I decided that animal experimentation was not for me. So then I pursued a PhD in nutrition, in product development, and in plant sciences here. And I came up with a lot of algal derived products. Then I upskilled myself in terms of communication. I developed training. I got into ethics. So now I'm on the ethics board of many animal experimentation board of many institutions in India, in Karnataka. And all of these studies that I've done has led me to, in a matter of about 7 years, I have taught students from primary school till PhD grads. Okay, so I've taken all sorts of students. I've taught them all sorts of things, not just soft skill training. We've also gone for specialized training and also in skill development here. I have, as a scientist, so I have worked on multiple product development. I have brought in research grants of over 3 crores and generated multiple products, which has contributed to the national science impact. And I have worked with animal ethics in the regulation of experimentation. I've also done a policy writing course wherein I did write as a certain policy um, proposal, which might be integrated into the Indian's alternative energy proposal soon. And through all of this, I've just jumped into science communication recently. So this has all happened within about 7 years. Okay, so it's a very short time to have been doing so much. Now this itself, in 7 years, if I were to talk about my father, okay, he started off as an engineer. All through his entire life he stayed as an engineer. It's only after he retired that he got into consultancy. But in 7 years, I'm working as a consultant, I'm working as an educator, I'm working as a rescuer, I'm working into animal experimentation. And that is not out of interest. That is just because these are the avenues that have opened up for me. And all of this has happened because the world is changing. Again, tradition no longer means anything. It's all about interdisciplinary roles right now. So over the years, this is also what's going to happen to you. You will be able to integrate multiple different fields, and you'll be able to create a new sort of a job description for yourself. You no longer have to stick to being a doctor, an educator, a scientist. No, you can have one life and you can do many ventures. So yes, I'm going to close my session over here.